Israel Adesanya is aiming to secure his third middleweight title and write his name into the history books as he faces off against the reigning champion Dricus Du Plessis in Perth this Saturday night. This bout promises to be a thrilling chapter in sports history that fans won't want to miss. On Friday morning, the tension reached a boiling point as the two fighters squared off at the UFC 305 press conference, where their trash talk took a deeply personal turn. At the core of their heated rivalry is African heritage. Du Plessis, who lives and trains in South Africa, proudly sees himself as the first true UFC champion from the continent, a claim that has fueled the animosity between them. When Izzy was asked whether he'd be taking his belt home to Nigeria after UFC 305, Du Plessis interrupted with a hurtful comment, implying that Adesanya grew up in wealth. DDP then jabbed further, asking if his rival would be bringing his servants along with him. As the camera returned to Adesanya, his expression had turned emotional. There were visible tears running down on Izzy's face. Then Izzy quickly got up, slammed his hands on the table, and stormed out of the presser. "He crossed the line because I fight for my family," Adesanya said, tears streaming down his face. "I can cry and whoop your ass at the same time. I'm going to kill your dreams, bitch. I want to kill your dream." Adesanya then dropped his mic and stormed off the stage, but he had to return moments later for a stare down with the man who made him cry. Ironically, DDP also made Sean Strickland cry when he brought up the painful memories of Sean's family abuse issues from his childhood. Dricus mocked both Adesanya and Strickland with a Twitter post saying, "Come on guys, stop crying at press conferences, it's not that serious." Strickland also cried in the cage after his fight with Adesanya. Izzy used this moment to mock Strickland, saying the whole thing with him crying. "You know what's funny? If you roll the clip where he cried, I told him, hey, stop crying like a bitch. He hugged me. It was kinda ironic because he was making fun of me, calling me a soy boy. It's funny how he can diss you but can't take it, and that's very telling to me." MMA Community was quick to react to Adesanya's sad moment. While most of the fans mocked him, some of them expressed sympathy and stood by his side. He cried because of DDP thinking he knows Izzy's life story over a few interviews. Izzy cried because once they got to New Zealand, they would have struggled in the beginning while Izzy's mom studied to become a nurse. Everyone acting like he isn't human. He cried because DDP brought up the servants Izzy had as a child in Nigeria, the story he tried to change and make it sound like he was dirt poor. Izzy crying because he got caught lying. He brought up Izzy's servant's life, implying he was privileged and never struggled, and Izzy saw his family front row and cried because he clearly remembered his family's struggle and wanted to fight for his mom. DDP is genuinely R-worded. The tension between Adesanya and DDP is unlike any rivalry Izzy has had before. In fact, it is hard to recall any other moment where a fighter cried during trash talk. Do you think Adesanya reclaims his belt, or does DDP continue his winning streak? Leave your comments below. Daniel Cormier explains why UFC 305 is a must-win fight for Israel Adesanya's career. Despite coming off a loss and having been inactive for a year, Adesanya is still the slight favorite over champion Dricus Du Plessis. Former double champ Daniel Cormier calls it a must-win bout for Izzy. I think Izzy needs to win, man. He's got to win this fight because I don't know what the career looks like for a guy like Israel Adesanya if he isn't in the title reign. Motivation is a tricky thing, especially for a guy that seems to have everything. All the money, all the titles, he's got the fame, he's got everything. DC said he can't imagine Adesanya being happy playing a supporting role for a pay-per-view event if he loses this weekend and has to fight his way back up the division. Quote, "Getting up to fight for a championship again is easier than saying I'm just going to fight on a pay-per-view and I might be the co-main event." I don't know if that's in Izzy's cards anymore. I think it's titles, and if it's not titles, it's getting back to titles, but I don't know. He has that run in him, and I don't know, should he have to have that run in him because he's done so much already. Dricus reacts to Islam Makhachev's possible middleweight move. Earlier this week, Makhachev's head coach, Javier Mendez, teased a potential move up to middleweight for the reigning lightweight champion. When Du Plessis was asked about Makhachev moving up 2 weight classes, the champ dismissed the idea, believing that Islam would be too small for the challenge. I mean, what can I say? Everybody can dream, right? I always say, never cap your dreams, dream big, but he's dreaming real big. I'm very big. If both DDP and Makhachev continue to win and eventually face each other in the cage, would Islam even stand a chance? Or is Dricus just too big for him? Leave your opinions below. In other news, Islam slammed 3 UFC fighters, saying they haven't really earned their Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belts. In an interview with Hosha MMA, the host played a game with the champ. They named several MMA stars and asked Islam if they deserved their black belts. The segment started off strong, with Makhachev praising both Tom Aspinall and Aljamain Sterling, but it quickly took a turn when asked about the belt Dustin Poirier deserves. Makhachev replied, maybe brown. Makhachev then said the same thing about Paddy Pimblett, and then really went after Tony Ferguson. He said, no, he don't have black belt. He has a couple of things on the ground that he did with many fighters, but he is not a real black belt. I work with real black belts. It's so tough. For the fighters, they get a gift. Some don't deserve it. Conor McGregor appears determined to fight in 2024, but Dana White has other plans. Days after surprising many by announcing that McGregor won't fight in 2024. Despite calls for a December bout with Michael Chandler, Dana stood firm, telling Sportsnet that he doesn't think Conor will return to the UFC in 2024, no matter what McGregor says. Quote, I don't know what Chandler's planning on doing. I know he's kind of kicking around right now. You know, you can imagine after I said that, Conor was blowing me up, going, I'll definitely fight this year. When we get to a point where we're setting a fight, and I believe that a Conor McGregor fight is going to happen, I will announce it. As of right now, I believe that Conor will not fight this year. Conor's saying he wants to fight. He wants to fight in December. We'll see how it plays out. After White's comments, Conor reacted by tweeting out, the UFC love and want me for December, I am ready. Chandler quickly responded with, December it is. Chandler has sidelined himself since a 2022 loss to Dustin Poirier, largely to wait for McGregor. Conor has been set for a UFC return against Chandler since coaching against him on The Ultimate Fighter in early 2023. Their fight was initially slated for June 29th at UFC 303, but McGregor had to withdraw due to a broken pinky toe. He hasn't fought since breaking his leg in a July 2021 loss to Dustin Poirier, but remains eager to return. Chandler, who has been waiting for Conor since 2022, told TMZ on Wednesday that he still hopes to fight McGregor in December. However, he's also open to other matchups if the McGregor fight doesn't materialize. The drama surrounding McGregor goes far beyond the octagon. His flashy lifestyle and constant public scandals, which once made headlines, are now just distractions. What used to be exciting and entertaining is now more of a distraction for fans who are tired of the non-stop controversies. People who were once excited for his next fight are now feeling impatient and frustrated. The constant media drama is overshadowing the real excitement about his return to the octagon. With McGregor's return still up in the air, fans are feeling pretty let down and tired of the drama. The hype that used to surround him has died down, and now people are just hoping he'll get his act together. What do you think of Conor's current state? And in case the fight with Chandler ever materializes, who do you think would win? Leave your comments below and don't forget to subscribe for daily MMA news.